I'm Jamie Collins, and we are here for the fourth of our 12 Sparkle programs, and this one is talking about footwear, getting the right shoes, essentially, for your feet, so that you're more comfortable, so that you have a better experience out there, but it's also to prevent injuries. Depending on how much you do, chronic repetitive type injuries for runners, walkers, joggers are something to be aware of, and something certainly to avoid, because it tends to sideline you for extended periods of time. So that's why we're here. And I wanted to highlight, first off, before we even talk about shoes, let's talk just a little bit about socks. These are not my dirty old socks. They are actually clean. But these are both Smartwool socks, different weights. I highly recommend really good socks. They're not cheap. You don't pick those up for $1.95 for a six-pack. They're more like $15, $16, $17 a pair, depending on the exact pair. But they last an incredibly long time. And they wick moisture away from your feet to keep you comfortable, to keep blisters down. They also help with that rubbing against shoes and things, and the friction that you'll experience when walking, running, or jogging. These are the Smartwool brand, but they do have these highly technical, really awesome fabrics now, and a variety of different brands that you can buy, at specialty running or hiking stores. Really good stuff, so highly recommended. I wear those every day for everything, and I wouldn't be without them. So let's talk a lot about shoes, but first about the two big categories of shoes. One is road shoes, and the other one is trail shoes. Trail shoes tend to have rubber on the toes. They're just a lot sturdier construction. They tend to get you lower down toward the ground, so you don't have so much opportunity to twist your ankle and so on. They've got these handy speed laces in this case, and these things tuck up underneath the tongue. All sorts of different features to keep you injury-free and comfortable on trails. And these are probably the shoes that you're looking for, however. Your basic road shoe that you've all seen, and bought a few pair of those. In the road shoe category, there are really three overall types that fit different body types and different biomechanics, and that's really what we're talking about. Every body type is different. Everybody's got slightly different biomechanics. We'll talk about how that is, especially that sheet that I handed out to you. Those three types of shoes are cushioned, stability, and motion control. Those aren't identified on your sheet there, but those are the three. And if you go to a specialty running store, they will know these types of shoes, and they can help you fit the shoe for your foot and your particular biomechanics. Hibbett Sports in Platteville would be one place that knows that information, though they don't necessarily label all their shoes as motion control or stability or cushioned. Other places like Moving Shoes in Madison, or I'm thinking of the one in Blackhurst.
Shoe Shack in Dubuque.
Shoe Shack in Dubuque. I like to shop local whenever possible, but the Shoebox in Black Earth is really good at it. In fact, I got the Shoebox. I like to shop local whenever possible, but when it comes to running shoes, you really need to get what works for you, and if that means you have to go somewhere else, then you have to go somewhere else.
The Shoe Shack in Dubuque is excellent.
Some of these places really know their stuff, and they can really help you out. Another really good source of information is runnersworld.com. They have two things. They have a shoe guide, an extensive listing and description of all the shoes that are made by all the different manufacturers, and Nike and Reebok and everybody else that's out there, their prices, and they tell you more about what each of these things does. That's one resource. But the other one that I handed out to you on a piece of paper here is runnersworld.com/shoe advisor, and this allows you to go in there and quickly select a few different traits about your own body type, mechanics, and so on, your height, your weight, how much you run and so forth, and it gives you recommendations for the kind of shoes. Again, these are connected to their descriptions and their in-depth information, so you get more information about each shoe that's recommended for you, as well as the list price of the shoe, and they do recommend certain shoes over others from time to time. They'll have a best buy shoe or a best value shoe on Runner's World, so it really helps you sort through the options. So I highly recommend this, but why do they do this? The reason they do this is because some of us have different biomechanics, as I've said, flat feet, high arches, some of us overpronate and so on. And one of the thing I'll show you here is this diagram of your foot. You only really can know that if you take a really close look at your feet, standing up, level on two surfaces, and almost have somebody else go down and put their finger in your arch down here to determine exactly how much arch you really have, whether it's none or whether it's a high arch or whether it's a moderate arch.
And they have at Walmart one of those things you can stand on, and it tells you that.
Oh, do they? Okay. Well, that's
And they have
pretty
little inserts that you can put for different.
I didn't know that. Another good way to do it is just to moisten the bottoms of your bare feet at home with a wet paper towel or something like that. Lay down a regular old sheet of paper and go stand on it, and then when you walk away, you've got this imprint, kind of like your feet in sand, and it will give you one of these basic three categories here. You can take a look at that and select one of those. The reason this is important is if you have high arches, you tend not to roll your foot over, or pronate, as they call it. Pronate is when, if you strike on your heel, you tend to roll over and then toe off on the inside portion of your heel, whereas a normal pronator, if you will strike on the heel, or strike on the midfoot, and then toe off directly in the center. And we all have some variation of all this going on. There are even underpronators that do exactly the opposite move. It's pretty rare. The reason it's important to get the right shoe is because doing this, toeing off on the inside and having that pronation, means that, and again, I'm not an athletic trainer, I'm not a medical professional, I'm just a guy who knows running and has done it for a lot of years and has read extensively about these things. But it puts a lot of torque on your ankle, puts a lot of torque on your shin and your knee, and does result actually in things like shin splints and runner's knee and things that are not only painful, but they prevent you from doing the things that you want to do, from running and walking and jogging and so on, getting out and getting that exercise. So getting the right shoes helps you alleviate those problems. Now, the differences in the shoe, this is a cushioned shoe, so it's softer. You can almost feel it, just pushing your fingers into the material here. And it's pretty flexible. If you take this and do this, it's pretty easy to bend the shoe that way. A motion control stability shoe, the farther they move along that line toward motion control, the harder this flex is, the more of a straight last this shoe will be. This one's actually pretty straight lasted for a cushioned shoe. A lot of them will have this forefoot portion kind of moved over toward the inside as compared to the heel, so the strike line of this thing will actually go more at an angle like this. But this is pretty straight lasted for a cushioned shoe. The stability shoes, the motion control shoes, they will be more straight lasted, so you should be looking for that line if you need motion control or stability shoes. Some of them will also have a dual heel composition, and you can usually see that in the back, where one side of the shoe, at least in the heel and toward the forefoot here, will be a more dense material than the outside. And what that does is help keep you from overpronating again, or keep your foot more heading toward the outside through the motion of your running strike. So that's the basics on the different shoe types, why we need them. Any questions?